Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Cafecito and Conversation. I am Dominica, your host. I'm so excited to have all of you here, and Happy New Year. This is our first episode of the year, and I'm so excited to talk to Joanna Esparza. She is an author, entrepreneur, small business owner. She does it all. So let's go ahead and just dive in. And Joanna, how about we start off with letting everyone know a little bit about you?
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dominica, for having me on your show. I'm glad to be one of the first interviews for 2021 to kick off the brand new year. But yeah, so my name is Joanna Esparza. I'm a local entrepreneur, a small business owner. I'm an author. I'm a founder of a nonprofit. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm pretty much like your all type of girl.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Joanna, I'm so excited to talk to you today. So we kicked off, I wanted to kick off this episode with a whole new look. So I wanted it to feel like, you're being invited with some cafecito, over my house, and we're just speaking. So, so we're going to start. Awesome. We're going to start off with asking you, what is your favorite drink?
Yeah, so I love my coffee. Like my coffee is like, I know I should be thinking about Jesus when I wake up, but I think about my coffee. And if I don't have my coffee, first things first, I am like in a bad mood. I'm not so happy. So coffee has to be my favorite all-time drink just to kick off my day. It's totally like a mental thing. And then I love my water or lemon with water. That's like my next go-to.
I love it. I am only a fan of Cafecito de olla lately. That's my go-to coffee. But however, like right now I'm on a golden milk kick. It is like the best thing ever. So it's hot steamed milk with turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. And then because of the turmeric, it changes your milk into yellow. So that's why it's called golden milk. And the turmeric obviously is really good for inflammation. And I kept seeing it on social media, people drinking it, and the ingredients sounded really good. And I thought, let me give it a try. And it tastes really good. I love it. So that's my go-to drink right now. So thank you for coming over and having this conversation with me. I think it's like perfect that we're doing this right at the beginning of the year. Talking about really what I wanted to dive in with you is talking about your message and how do you come up with it? How do you put it out there? And I think it's a very important thing that you can have in your toolbox, especially as an entrepreneur, right? Because you really have to create your message for other people to really understand what you're doing, fall in love with what you're doing. And it's really been something myself that I've been working on for the last year, especially through COVID, having to pivot and do all these virtual things. And so can you kick us off a little bit by just how did you come up with how did you even approach the topic for you?
Yeah. So, first of all, I think that it's so important to know your message because once you know your message, you know how to align everything else in life. But if you don't know what your message is, then it's going to make it that much harder to get involved with, companies, with your work, your professional life, or any type of volunteer work, because you just don't know what you stand for. So you don't know what you want. And really, to understand what your message is, you have to really understand what it is that you have personally went through that has helped you overcome, that has really propelled you to go to the next level. So for me, my message is all about speaking life into girls and women. And I can do that with so many different forms, platforms, businesses, writing, and it's really just going back to your teenage years, to your school age, when what were those things that you were going through, and what helped you overcome, what kept you strong, what kept you motivated.
Right.
And that's how I believe that's how you're going to find your message.
No, you bring up a very good point, because I feel like one of the telltale signs or red flags to point you in the right direction is really figuring out, what do you stand behind, or what is that one thing that your heart pulls you in that direction and you feel most passionate about. And so, are you standing behind a nonprofit that is focused on youth, like She Became, which we'll dive into later? Are you more focused on adult empowerment with specifically women? So those are one of the things that I felt like for me helped me understand what my message was. It was trying to figure out, well, what is the thing that I gravitate to? What is the thing that I would donate money to, and kind of go from there?
Yeah.
And then I feel like also an opportunity to kind of discover your message is doing some reflective work on, like, what's your purpose?
Yeah, I completely agree. And something before I lose this thought, I just want to share that once you know what your message is, you know what your values are, you're going to be able to stand firm.
Right.
And not be swayed by other influences in your life, whether they're be negative or positive, because once you know what your message is and what your values are and what really matters to you, then it's going to be that much easier to stay in your lane and not get distracted by so much other things that are available to us. I mean, we have everything available to our fingertips.
Right.
We go on YouTube and we can learn like anything, or we go down our social media and there's like everything. Everyone is doing amazing things, but you have to remember who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, so that way you're not wearing mask to fit in, or losing time, energy, and years or even months into a project that's not going to help you get closer to who you are to fulfill your purpose in life.
Yes. Yes. Say it. Say it. Say it for the people in the back.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've wasted a little bit of time. And you know what? I wasted time not trying to figure out what my message was. I was just on autopilot, or I was just, going to work every day and like having a family. Like, that's awesome. But we're made to give back. We're made to have a voice and to really spread our voice and our wings in this world.
Right. And, it's very easy, especially if you're involved in the community and there is so many events, there's so many opportunities to go out and network. It took me a long time to understand, is the thing that I'm saying yes to aligned with what my message is or what my purpose is, or business for entrepreneurship, right? Is there a even exchange by me attending this event? And, you really have to ask yourself, is this for this yes that I'm saying? Is it worth the no that I'm saying no to? And so that was another moment that made me reflect on, like, wait a minute, I'm giving. Not that I expect to receive back, but is my business growing? No. Am I getting clients out of it? No. Like, what really is going on here? Is it just me posing for a photo on social media when that's not even my thing? It just happens organically, right? You go to an event, you take photos, and they get blasted on social media, but we do know that there is people out there that thrive on that photo, and that's okay. That's what that person is after and what they're working on. But I feel that, especially if you have a goal for this year related to entrepreneurship, you really have to focus and follow that plan of action. And there's going to be a lot of things that are disguised as distractors that are going to like have you shift into a direction that you necessarily may not want to go into.
Yeah. You know what? That's absolutely like dead on because, okay, so 2020, right? I remember starting 2020 and I was pumped. I was on fire. Like this year, wow, so many things that I'm going to accomplish. And then when like the whole pandemic hit, it was like, whoa. And it really taught us, you know, who matters the most to us, what matters the most to us. It showed us, it really gave us a whole new world, a whole new point of view to what really matters in life. And so taking that from 2020 and now shifting into 2021, it's like, okay, you know, we're going to be in this for the long haul. How do I want to spend my time? And for me, I really narrowed it to like 4 themes. And I'm really like I have never been so intentional about how I'm going to spend and invest my time than today, which is like what you said, like reflection is so important, because if I didn't reflect on 2020, I wouldn't have taken my future more serious until now, maybe in 4 years, 5 years, because we all learn from experience. And what this experience taught us is to really value our time, value where we're invested in our time, who we're surrounding ourselves with, because that's another key part. Who are you allowing in your space, in your mental space? Because if you're letting negativity, then you're going to be negative. I mean, there's so much fear that the world wants to like, engrave us with, but I'm saying no to fear. I'm saying yes to safety, but no to fear.
Right. Oh, girl. Seriously, you know what? You said something key. You touched on your circle. And I know that this is a topic in itself. So let's just briefly talk about it. But I feel like it needs to be acknowledged, because there's the crowd that claps for you, and then there's the crowd that advocates for you. And so the crowd that advocates for you, if you're wanting to build your tribe and you've heard me talk about your executive board, right? Like, not the executive board on your nonprofit or that you'd be a part of. This is your key power players in your life that know your vision, know how to dream big with you, can see past your vision and tap into your potential and challenge you and make you grow. These are people that would be in a room where you're not and say your name because there's something that was put out there. They're like, you got to meet Joanna. Yeah. And that is the difference between clapping and advocating. And it's okay. It doesn't matter where people fall, but especially as an entrepreneur and a doer, it is key to recognize the difference, because, especially when you have being a first generation entrepreneur, not having someone to like show you or really know the steps to even build a business, you're going to put yourself in a space to do that. And, like we talked about a little bit ago, when we say yes to all these different activities that aren't aligned with that, it becomes a distractor. And sometimes we get distracted and not being aligned with the right people or the right things. So completely, I get it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that's why being intentional is really important. I think I was missing that as well, because I'm like, my number one strength is I love to learn. So whether I'm learning, like online classes, I'm always observing, watching. I'm looking up to people. I'm watching people, how they handle situations, because I'm like a sponge. Like I'm really like soaking in, this person does this really well. How can I incorporate? How can I learn? How can I make myself better? Right. And so being intentional about how you're spending your time and what you're doing to improve yourself and to sometimes even just to stay above water, because, yes, we're strong, but we also are human, and we have those moments where we do feel down. And I always say too that it's, for me, I have to just sometimes just pause and really feel that, what I'm feeling, being aware of those emotions, but then being strong enough to pull yourself out of any negative or sadness. Right. And, taking that to your next season, so that way, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, how can you take what you just experienced or felt, so that way someone can feel better out there, because everyone out there, there's always someone that is waiting for you to encourage them, to acknowledge them, and to be a listening ear sometimes. I mean, we weren't created to do life alone. We were created to do life together.
Mm-hmm. No, you touched on some really good points. And I feel like one of the things to recognize is that when you're putting, well, for one, let me backtrack a little bit. Work-life balance is just a myth. Okay, it is something that you're always going to be working on. Mm-hmm. And, it's not going to look perfect. Sometimes it's going to look ugly. Sometimes it's going to look fantastic. And I think once you acknowledge that and get over that hump, like, just whatever it is that you have on your mind, just starting it and doing it and not waiting for perfection is it. That's the key right there. Once you get over that, and then the rest will fall into place. It's just kind of like trial and error. And I think as leaders, we're lifelong learners, and we just pick up those things by the people that we talk to, right? And so earlier, you and I offline, we were talking, and I was giving you some tips on strategy in your power hour, right? And so, but that's because I've had other conversations with other people that have it down. And so I'm able to give that back, because I didn't, I didn't come there to that place by myself. And that's why kind of cultivating your tribe is so important, because that's where you pick up those golden nuggets that, we wouldn't otherwise have gotten unless we're around a person that already paved the way and did it first. And, but when it comes to your message, I feel like there's many opportunities to put it out there in the universe. And I think you're the perfect example of that, Joanna, by launching the candles and the lotions and the scrubs. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Before I lose this thought, so you said not waiting for things to be perfect. And that's really like one of my biggest challenges. I really like things to be as perfect or as close as perfect as they can be. And I feel like I always have to either be ready myself or my material has to be ready. But in all reality, like, if we sit around and wait for perfection, then we're never going to do it. And we have to be willing to do things unperfect, because by doing things unperfect, you're going to, one, take action. Two, you're going to overcome those fears and insecurities that are trying to hold you back, and you're just going to act. And third, you're going to be gaining experience. And experience doesn't happen overnight. It comes through trial and error. It comes by getting off that couch and doing and failing and learning and doing. So when I started this candle business, I kind of didn't want to do it. It was just, it was a little like fear. And I did it. I have lots of candles that are just in my house that I burn for my own.
I think we all do.
Yeah, because, there's so much practice and so much mess up trying to get your formula right, what scents you want, what scents you're going to keep. And then, oh my gosh, my labeling, I did not like my labeling, and I still kind of change it because I'm not 100% happy with it. But you know what? Starting that business has been one of the best things that has happened. The income has been great, but for me, it's never been about the money. It's been about what I can do with the money that I earn. And I have had such a blessed year, such a blessed year. And not only that, but, the story behind that business is that I did start it with my daughter. And so she now observes, she learns that anything can happen in whatever season that you're in. You just have to be willing to turn whatever season you are in around and make it work for your favor. And that's what we did. We made a global pandemic work in our favor.
I love that. And I love that you're able to continue to put your message around those. So I know that you have stuck affirmations on them, scripture, and I think that is something so incredible, because no matter what you're following or your calling or the thing that you do, there's different avenues that you can follow that still is aligned with your message and create some extra revenue opportunities for yourself and your family. And I love that you did that, because I think most small business owners kind of, and which is okay, right, to stick to that one thing. But I think early on in my entrepreneur journey, I heard, and it was like an echo in my mind for days on out of, there's always an opportunity for 7 avenues of income. And whether it be doing surveys online and getting paid for them, whether it be doing a Shopify store or selling on Etsy, there's a lot of opportunities to create income. But what I love that you've done, and I believe that it sets you apart, is that you stay true to your message and incorporating that into the candles.
Yeah. And you know what? Sharing your message, it's going to become so natural for you. Because even when I did start the candle business, like immediately I wanted to use positive words. Why? Because it's me. It's part of my DNA. Like, it's really hard for me to step out of that message. I don't even know if that's possible, because even with my daytime job, as I meet new people, I'm trying to encourage them. I'm trying to be kind to them. I'm trying to be as nice as I can, because that's just who I am. And
Right.
and when you know who you are and you know your message, you're going to try to spread your message in whatever way you can. That you just can't run away from it. So that's what happened with the business. It became just another avenue of how I can share my message. And you know what, with it's still organically growing, but the way that I see it is that I have been able to meet, to inspire, to teach so many other people that I was not able to teach through my books. Because when people go to fairs, craft fairs or pop-up fairs, it's going to be easier for them to buy a candle than to buy a book.
Right.
Or even with the nonprofit that I run, it attracts a whole different demographic. But then when you go to the candle business and you're selling the lotions, whipped sugar scrubs, whatever those products are, you're reaching a whole different demographic, and just anybody who their beliefs are different. So it's still you, it's just with a creative and new way to spread your message.
Right. That is so true. And I think as someone that is very creative, and I think that's one thing that we both have in common, is that creativity. And sometimes it's easy to lose yourself in that creativity, meaning you build up all these different hats, right? And so it can become a little bit challenging, but you touched on something important, that being in corporate America, and what I mean by that is when you have an 8-to-5 job and you're trying to build a side hustle or a small business on the side, right? It gets a little complicated when you're juggling a lot of stuff. But when you have identified your message and you stay true to it, like, the money will follow, especially when you're serving others, the money will follow. And when it's passion and it's not work, you're just doing it because you love it. And then I love what you did, especially, and I feel like this speaks to all moms that perhaps got impacted for COVID and are trying to do some side business on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace. Like, it is very easy to involve, your kids and the thing that you're doing and trying to sell, because it's like getting strategic about doing it, and it's adds another layer and another layer of meaning, because like, why would I go to Target? And I often reference, and it could be any store, I'm just saying Target. If I happen to head over there and I need a I don't know, I'm going over there for candles, right? I am not going to go and buy their $6 candle knowing that I know Joanna and I know the story behind her candles and that she started them with her daughter. I know Alina, like, I'm going to think about her and I'm going to choose to go and shop with you, right? And so that's another component to your message, is that when you share that story, people are going to want to support you, and they'll just shop at Target for other reasons, right? So it's like nobody loses out anything. It's just remembering, the heart of why a person does something. And I love that you really mastered that, because it's something special when you can say, I started this, the candles and the sugar scrubs with Alina. And, here we kind of made them into a business. And guess what? December was my highest income, from the whole year since you've launched the candles, because it was Christmas. And so, as people started to get to know that, they're like, okay, we're going to go over here and get the candles from Joanna and Alina.
Yeah, I agree. And, something that I want to just leave everyone who's listening or watching is that even if the opportunity doesn't work out, you got experience. So like I mentioned earlier, that experience doesn't happen overnight. And so often we're afraid of trying new things, or we don't know if this, other opportunity, yes, it sounds great for income, but I don't see myself doing it forever. And you know what? That's okay. I want you to know that that's okay if you're not going to do it, 20 years down the line. But as long as you tried it, you gained experience from it. I just say that's a bonus, because now you have that experience under your belt. And that's how I see it, because I've been asked, are you going to do this forever? Do you see this becoming your full-time income? And I just say, I don't know. I don't know, right. But I'm enjoying this. I'm learning from it. And best of all, I'm creating memories for my daughter. My daughter became an author at age 9. And we had a little argument. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say argument, but she said, Mom, you wrote a book. I'm not going to do everything that you like to do. 9-year-old, right? And she said,
oh, she told you that.
Yes, she told me that. And I said, you know what, Alina? That's completely fine. I understand that. But as your mother, it is my job to teach you, to let you experience it, to let you try it. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to do it again. But now she has the experience of writing a book at age 9 and becoming an author. Maybe she'll never write a book again, but guess what? When she's 20 years old and she's looking for a new career, new job, whatever that may be, she's going to have that under her belt, that experience.
No, that's so true. And oh my goodness, Joanna, time is flying by as we're talking. And I feel like this probably can be a workshop.
I agree.
But we are running out of time. So I want to make sure that that you share with everyone where they can connect with you. But before that, is there anything that we didn't touch upon that you want to make sure that you put out there? So let everyone know if there was something that we missed, and then where to connect with you.
Yeah, no, just remember your message, discover your message if you don't know it yet, because knowing your message is going to save you tons of time and really help you focus and work on your purpose. And jump into that extra income opportunity that you may be debating, looking for. Do it afraid, jump in it, and learn from it. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Joanna Esparza. I do have a website as well, www.joannaesparza.com. And I am working on growing my YouTube channel, which is all connected on my social media as well.
Perfect. Well, Joanna, thank you so much for being the first guest of the year. And I know that you will definitely be back because I feel like this topic, there is so much more to say about it. But till then, everyone that is watching or listening, be sure to connect with Joanna. We'll have her links in the show notes. But till then, thank you for joining us. And we will see you in the next episode of Cafecito and Conversation. So bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Uh-huh.